Would you talk to the doctor? Hello and welcome to another episode of Talk to the Doctor. Check it out. Today, I'm with my friend, Kei Kobayashi, pro surfer. Kei, good to have you in, my man.
Thank you for having me. That's an honor. I'm so stoked to be here.
Yeah, and I'm stoked to have you. You know what I want to do? Just jumping right in, I want to just check you out and say, where did it all start for you? Like, when was that moment in your childhood when you kind of clicked in and went, oh yeah, I want to do this surf thing?
Well, I got to give credit where credit is due, of course. I feel like I've learned that a lot these past few years. And yeah, big thanks to my parents, right? Like, I wouldn't be alive if it wasn't for them. And they actually moved from Japan to the States, and they actually fell in love at San Clemente pier. And then my brother Shaw was born, and then a few years later I was born. And it's kind of a crazy love story how they met, and yeah, we could go more in depth with that, but
wow, yeah, that is really cool. I didn't know that.
Yeah, so I'll make it, we got a long podcast ahead of us, and yeah, so basically I feel like when I started falling in love with surfing more, I started at a really young age, probably like 2, I would say. I was kind of in the water around that age. Cool. On a bodyboard first.
Where were you in the water?
Doheny.
Okay.
Yeah. Cool. I think that's the best place to learn how to surf or take a kid out and just not be afraid of the ocean.
And being as that I know your dad as well as I do, okay? Mm-hmm. I know that, for years he was the sushi chef over at Taco. Mm-hmm. And that's where I met him, and he made, all that amazing food that Roger, the owner of Taco, had him there. It was an amazing thing a long time ago. And then I know he is a fanatical surfer, right? I mean, he surfs like as much as anybody. So it seems natural to me that, I didn't know your mom and dad met at the pier. That's incredible. Yeah. Right? That's really cool.
It's a crazy story.
And where's she from?
My mom's from Tokyo.
Oh, no way.
And then my dad's from a little town called Shizuoka.
They just happened to, two full-on Japanese people happen to meet at San Clemente Pier.
Yeah, they had no idea. My dad actually worked at Jack Ocean Sports, one of the biggest surf shops in Japan, in Shizuoka. And yeah, he flew over here just because they wanted someone over out here. That was when he was working with Jack Ocean Sports and Stussy at the time.
Cool.
And yeah, so he just was like, oh, I'll just go to California. He didn't really tell them he was going to be surfing, but it's like they knew,
Yeah.
And yeah, he came over here and then started surfing Trestles,
So when he first got to California, was it here?
Yeah.
The first time he didn't go to Newport or
no, I'm pretty sure,
La Jolla, like he came to San Clemente.
I think, yeah, came straight to San Clemente. And sick. Yeah, I might have him correct me, but yeah, he had a dream in mind of like surfing Trestles. And yeah, he like wanted to check that off, and yeah.
Well, he certainly checked that off.
Yeah, for sure.
He basically is there as much as anybody. 100%. Always smiling, super stoked guy. I just got to say, I literally think your dad is so awesome, and I've known Masaki forever, and he's just he's super surf stoked, right?
Oh, yeah.
He glows like the sun. It's amazing, right? And so just the fact that you're his son and the way your parents met, that's really cool. That's San Clemente roots stuff right there,
Oh,
good for you.
My dad is like a diehard uppers, like local, and has been there forever. Like he still gets waves at lowers, any of those waves, he's one of the guys out there. But uppers is like, he loves that wave, the hut, and I really appreciate and respect those locals so much because this story will connect and make more sense. But yeah, when I was probably, I want to say 6, maybe younger, like maybe 5, I want to say. I was like kind of like rolling around still like in diapers. So I was probably pretty young, right? And my parents were out surfing and my brother was out too. And it was high tide. So then I like rolled down like there's no hill there, but the berm, little berm on the hut. And like, if you've ever surfed uppers, yeah, that hut is like super respected. And yeah. So I like rolled down, it was high tide. I ended up in the ocean. And like, as like a kid, you'd think like you'd start crying, right? And I keep hearing the story and I'm like, really? I didn't cry? Like, and I like feel like that was kind of a turning point of like, oh, I love the ocean. Like I respect it. Like I'm not crying, And yeah, like one of the locals actually pulled me out of the water because my parents, not that they don't care about the kids, but my dad ain't getting out of the water if it's firing, right? So let's be honest, if
Do you remember who it was that pulled you out?
I don't remember exactly. I could probably ask my parents.
Yeah.
And,
there's so many guys down there. Could have been, Dirty Dog. It could have been, any one of them. Because, such an awesome, I love Dirty. It's just so many people it could have been, right? It's just incredible. There's so many of the boys. All the way that could have been McElroy back then,
Oh, yeah.
Like he was down there every day in between shaping boards and surfing, So many, like to throw it out there to the Uppers crew because I also have a long history with that wave and I love the crew there and the whole thing and so much respect for that. What a beautiful wave. What an incredible spot. And, I don't feel bad mentioning, it's not exactly like it's unknown, it's not a secret spot, but do want to say, it's a phenomenal, what's interesting too, is it's never really, a lot of waves have degraded. If you're inside the bay from Cottons to Doheny, all our waves inside the bay have degraded tremendously over the years for reasons, many different reasons that are tangible reasons. But once you get around that corner, those waves, Cottons is affected a lot.
Oh, yeah.
But for some reason, Uppers is as good as it's ever been.
Yeah.
It's exactly the same as it was 50 years ago when I was surfing it. Lowers has changed a lot ever since the 83 storm. That also became a peak with a left. But before that, that was more like churches. That was a right back in the day. There wasn't a left there. So things have evolved. Churches is basically the same. It's an interesting part of the world right there, right?
Yeah, it's great you say that. Like, I'm not a guy that likes to blow out spots for sure. We're both kind of at the same space. But, we got to give credit where credit is due. And, what they've done with the hut and everything they've done, with that community at Uppers has just been, for my surf journey, it's been a huge, leap in the right direction. I've been walking that stand more than I actually have at Lowers, to be honest.
Sure.
That's where my family started going to. I probably ate at least half of that sand, honestly. I'd be just left and right. I'm just eating sand, it's appetizers, right?
It's a venerable spot for us. We really love Uppers and we love the crew there and what they've done, and they stand for something, and it just really is. It's just want to throw it out there for them. I know you have such a history there, and your dad and your family I've seen you guys there forever, and as we're moving forward. So then you kind of picked up on, when did you jump? When did you first stand up?
I want to say probably. I was looking at photos yesterday, and it was probably 4 or 5, maybe younger.
Okay.
Yeah. So my mom had me on a bodyboard at 1 or 2, so I think it was shortly after that. And it's crazy to think, because I have strangers asking me really that young, and I'm looking at photos. I'm yeah, my mom had me on a bodyboard when I was 1 or 2. So yeah, I just loved
Do you
the
remember
ocean.
Do you remember what the first board you rode? Do you remember anything about that board? The shaper, the shape, the size, the color? Is there any?
Yeah, I remember having a Roberts surfboards up in Ventura.
Okay.
And yeah, Rob's a man. He used to shape a lot of boards for me when I was a Grom.
Okay.
And then I got one custom Almeric, and this is a funny story. We went on a family trip. This is probably one of the last maybe family trips we did all together as a whole family. And before I started doing my Key West campaign and Pro Junior campaign, and we were in Costa Rica, and I had this brand new custom Almeric. I was probably maybe 12 or 13. And it's so funny. I just laugh when I think about this. But of course, I'm I'm younger than my brother. We're 6 years apart exactly, I think. And I burned him, right? So I'm technically in the wrong kind of in a way, so I burned him, and I'm laughing, whatever, being I was 12 or 13 at the time, and I burned him.
And he's how much older than you?
He's 6 years old.
Oh.
6 years older than me.
Oh, so you're 12. He's 18.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. So,
okay.
So he's obviously a lot more mature than I was, and we'll go into that whole young day. But I burned him, and it's pretty dark. It's sunset, last kind of wave kind of thing.
At where in Costa Rica?
Costa Rica, and they're right at Pavones. There's a Pavones and then the beach break. And that's actually where I learned how to duck dive too. So that's a really memorable place. My first ever duck dive. And yeah, so then I burned him, and then he kind of caught up to me, right? Because he's 18, he's
got more power, more speed.
Yeah, and then he ends up doing a bottom turn and spearing the bottom of my board.
Nice. Okay. Nothing like brotherly love.
Yeah, and I'm kind of was pissed, of course, but then I come in and I show my dad and my mom, and my dad starts losing it on my brother. He just got that board, and I was kind of crying, but then I start switching the mind shift of I started laughing. I'm just oh my gosh, my brother's getting yelled at. This is classic. I don't even care anymore. And my brother, now he's crying because he's getting yelled at for spearing his little brother's board. And it was just like, yeah, just a funny like memory.
Moment. Yeah. Yeah. You know, the thing of growing up with, you know, siblings and that kind of energy, I'm pretty sure we could hear that from any sibling. Not that exact recall, but just, you know, there's always going to be some sort of a rivalry. You know, there's a lot of intensity and it's good. It's healthy. Right?
Yeah, for sure.
It's healthy. So now we've pushed forward you're 12, you're at Costa Rica, you're doing your first duck dive, you know, those years. And then what, you know, how do we go from there into where now you've decided you want to kind of go after this as like something you want to do in your life? Like there's a lot of difference between being a Grom and just jumping on a board, first duck dive, surfing, having fun, and that moment in your head when you went, you know something, Dad, Mom, thanks for introducing me to the sport, but yeah, this is something I want to pursue. Do you remember when was there a moment that you remember that happening?
I want to say I was either like 12, 13 is when I was like signed by O'Neill, and then I got like my first paycheck.
Wow.
And I was like, whoa, like this is cool. Like I just made like whatever, you know, amount of money. And I'm like, and it wasn't like millions or anything like that. But I was just like, whoa, like I get to surf and get paid. Like this is kind of cool. Like
totally cool.
This is like a dream, you know, like at the time, like I wasn't thinking of like, oh, like the like CT and like all that. Like it was more just like, whoa, I get to do something that's really sick. Like, unique.
Something you love to do and someone's giving you money for it?
Yeah, and like
it doesn't get better than that.
And then that was like at the time where I wasn't on social media, you know, there was YouTube, there was Instagram, but I wasn't like,
I mean, that's like 15 years ago or something.
Yeah. And I was like, of course I probably had Instagram at the time, but I wasn't getting paid to post, right? So it was just like, oh, cool. Like I post my surf clips, whatever. Cool.
Yeah.
And then it was kind of, that was the turning point of like, hey, I want to do this like long term, but you know, the reality is there's not a lot of money in surfing, you know, in this day and age.
Sure.
You know, and there's a lot that I do behind the scenes, you know, besides that. But I fell in love with it, more than ever, I feel like, when I was 12, 13, and now I'm 27. So
incredible. Yeah. 15 years ago, you got your first paycheck. You kind of clicked into the whole idea of, wow, this is fun. Not only do I love surfing, but these guys want to give me money to do it too. Let's do this. You know, where do you sign me up? Let me sign on the dotted line. And then, you know, but then you have, like, I'm sure you had a relationship where your dad was probably really stoked on that, because knowing your dad, he must have been just pumped from here to T Street on that one, right? So and also, how did that manifest for you during those years where you're like, schooling? I don't know if you did homeschool or if you were in school, like, you know, how that connected with, you know, your surf project, you know, like how did you achieve education?
So I went to middle school at Short Cliffs.
Okay.
Yeah. So, and then, went to school with Griff and like all the boys. Like we went, like all were in the same school, same like surf team. We'd compete together. It would always be like a Short Cliffs final, because like it's the best, like, you know, middle school.
Come on,
there's like, we were pretty much, I think they're still undefeated, right?
I know, it's pretty much unfair. Almost, you know, the level of talent that we have here. Put them in junior high school and the team is all going to be the future stars.
Exactly.
Every year it's going to be the next generation. It's so amazing. Yeah. That's cool. You grew up in that crowd and that group. So then what about for the high school?
High school, I went to San Clemente High for freshman and sophomore year.
Okay.
And then junior and senior year, I ended up doing homeschool, just because that was kind of like when I was starting my pro junior QS campaign, you could say.
Yep.
And so I went freshman and sophomore year. I mean, if I could have done it back, you know, like I probably would have went senior year at least, just to
Sure, it's so fun.
You know, and like those are memories that they last a lifetime, right?
They really do,
it's hard to think like that, because you don't want to think about like shoulda, woulda, coulda.
Sure.
But if I could, I would be like, oh, I would go to high school for senior year at least. And I recommend that to all kids. And I think,
me too.
You know, just you can never go back. You know, like in time, the clock is always ticking. So it's like, you know, whether we want to slow down or not, the clock doesn't stop.
You're right. Yeah, and I will affirm that as well, because I myself basically got kicked out of school in 8th grade, 9th grade, 10th grade, and 11th grade.
Oh,
but
wow.
But I still I came back every year.
Yeah.
So I never got kicked out and just left. I loved education. I always wanted to learn. It was just, you know, I was a little wild for the format of school a lot of times. Yeah. So, but I came back my senior year, and somehow it worked out where I didn't get kicked out that year, and I graduated my class and have those memories. And I agree with you. There's nothing like it. You know, the memories that I have of my senior year, are special for life. And so I would affirm that as well. For any kids coming up, that would definitely be something I'd say. Well, if you get a chance, and I love the idea that you're so passionate about what you're pursuing that it becomes all you're doing. So I do want to reference that. But at the same time, if you can and jump into your senior year and come back, there's a lot to be said for that. So,
and like for me, like we'll go down more in depth, but there's so much more life than just surfing, than competitive surfing. And I've realized that more than ever. It's taken me almost 27 years to figure it out.
Sure.
And having a really good partner and, having her help me realize these things too, because when you're in your own bubble, in your own world, your own universe, you're just like blocking everything out, right? You're in a bubble. But once there's so much to life then outside this little bubble you're so fixated on, right? You can get
your girlfriend you're talking about?
Yeah, Camille. Yeah, so gotta give credit where credit's due.
Cool. Well, that's good for you for doing that. I'm sure she'll appreciate that. I think my audience does. Knowing who's behind the athlete, and what they bring to the table a lot of times does help you get perspective, or maybe lift you up when you're down, or drop you off when a little too high. Whatever it is.
For sure.
Cool. Well, that's cool. Congratulations to having a good woman in your life, and and for what you're doing. Because, it does take, you have a background with family that come from it. Now having a girlfriend that's involved in that way is really cool. I can see it. Just knowing you, I can see it's giving you a little bit of wisdom in the journey.
It's just like surfing is so fun, but there's so much to do in life, like hanging out with your friends, and that like I just want to say that like life is so short, right? And it's like people might say watching this or listening might be cliche to them, but it's like call your friends, call your family, call your loved ones. Like, it's like, whether you take this as a cliche or not, like, I truly believe in that more than ever. Like, what does it do to text someone 30 seconds, 10 seconds, call someone 30 seconds?
Couldn't agree more.
Yeah. But that's just the way I look at life now.
Yeah, that's a beautiful thing. And a lot of it in the old school, they'd say, slow down and smell the roses a little bit, it is about the journey, but be present.
Yes.
And in the present, understanding who our loved ones are and who, what we love about each day and what we have appreciation for in the bigger picture and also in the smaller picture, all of it. Because as it fits in, I know you're so grateful to have a career at surfing and to be a pro surfer. I know that. But I think what feeds that is to have that obsession is immense, but what feeds under it is to have appreciation for life and your loved ones and your friends and the sunshine and the water. I just think it's a beautiful perspective. So thank you for sharing that, because I agree with you fully about that.
Thank you.
Who were people coming up that you feel influenced you initially?
Definitely Griffin, for sure. I stayed at his house. I felt like I lived part-time at his house. Mitch and his mom, Camille. Could definitely agree on that. And Crosby too. I pretty much lived at their house during Christmas and like New Year's.
Okay.
It's like a second, third home to me. And
through what year? Like how, like you were there at what age?
I would say maybe like 15, 16. It was when we were competing at NSSA still, so I was pretty young. And we had this like crazy rivalry with San Diego. Like, it still goes down now. Sure. It's still San Clemente, San Diego. It's like the whole border thing of lowers and like whatever. Think what you guys want to think.
Yeah,
but
they think lowers is San Diego.
Yeah, but what I mean, like if you look at a map, maybe it is, maybe it's not. Maybe I'll never admit that. But
well, here's what you tell those guys: we ride our bikes there, pal.
That's
true.
You
drive here.
That's true.
Think what you want. You want to claim it. That's all cute or whatever. But this is our community.
Yeah.
We walk there if we want to.
That's true.
You guys drive in a car to get here through a Marine base and across the two nuclear titties. Okay, so I mean it's all good. True. We love you guys, but don't get too happy.
I love that. I love that analogy.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we had a crazy, like, still, not as much now, because we've grown up, we were all little shits, and now we're, we grow up, and you realize, hey, like, we don't have to hate each other. Maybe in the, in the moment when you're competing, there's no friends. Doesn't matter. Best friend, doesn't matter.
I'm trying to knock you out.
Yeah. It's me against you. Yeah. Sorry.
I'm trying to throw a knockout punch here.
Yeah, and everyone's in the same boat. That everyone.
They're trying to do the same to you.
Exactly. Yeah. And so it was like me, like growing up with Griff, we would get like in crazy arguments with like Jake Marshall and stuff. And like,
classic.
And not like we had like we had paddle battles where like Griff would like punch Jake in the face on accident, like kind of maybe on purpose, but and like I would like paddle on top of Jake, like he would paddle on top of me, and like had a crazy incident where he did pull my shoulder, but like it was like just in the moment, like just so many, like
this is at lowers.
No, this contest that Jake and I got in a huge argument was in Oceanside, I believe. And I'm sure you know who Bill Seitz is. He's a North America head judge.
Okay.
And yeah, so I pretty much said like F you to Bill, like F you to all the judges, F you to Jake Marshall, like San Diego sucks, like all
getting
these
a little
things.
spicy.
Yeah. And then I got banned for like 2 events.
Oh.
So that was like, you know,
counterproductive.
Pretty funny journey
right?
Looking back now,
sure.
like wow, like that actually did happen, you know?
It's crazy, yeah. You were so heated up, yeah.
Yeah, and then like went through all that and like, you know, like pretty much hated Jake Marshall. He hated me, and vice versa is well due, you know? And yeah, looking back now, I'm like, I even like when I see Jake, we hang out, we get like get food, surf, and like, you know, like comment on his Instagram, and like there's no beef there. I would say there's no beef, and it's really cool to see that whole shift in the world change for both sides. And like rooting for him, like he's like, there's not a lot of guys on tour that are from California too. And
it's true. Even
though I'm representing Japan now, I still root for my friends, you know. I want them all. I want all the success for them too, you know. And all the best for them, you know. So it's crazy to like think about those stories and like talking to you, like, wow, bringing back some like core memories in my life.
That is really cool. Yeah. And the thing is too, is like when we talk about California surfers on tour, let's talk about 2026. It looks to me like a good portion of them come from our town. Okay, so that's pretty. I want to throw out, you know, we are Californians and we're proud of California. I'm a huge I just love my state, you know, I really do. But I got to say, you know, I'm a San Clemente, and I have a lot of pride over the fact that we just seem to keep coming. You know, that's something in the water here, as people like to say.
Yeah.
But let's talk about who's on tour this year in 2026 on the CT from California. Would that be, did Jake requal?
Yep.
Okay, so we start off south. Let's move south to north.
Okay.
We've got Jake Marshall. Is that correct? And then we come to San Clemente, right? That's the only guy south of San Clemente that's on the tour is Jake.
Yes. Yep.
And then we have, obviously, we know we have Griffin, we have Crosby, and we have Cole.
Yep.
Is that correct?
Yes.
We have our 3, right? Okay, the 3 Musketeers are out there. I'm just saying, you know, hey. And then moving forward, I believe what the next one would be Kanoa.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
And that's kind of the Huntington, you know, that's Huntington, right?
There's beef there too.
There's
Huntington, San Clemente.
There's Huntington, San Clemente. That's been going on since day one.
Yeah.
There's a lot of love and a lot of rivalry.
Yeah.
You know, it's not too deep where we hate, but you know, there's definitely a passion. Yeah. And then from what I understand, that's it. Yeah, no one else represented. No Santa Cruz. No Santa Barbara. I mean, we're talking about the men.
Yeah. Like Connor Coffin was on tour,
but he's not now. So that's what I mean. There isn't anyone north of Kanoa out of Huntington / Japan, right? So that's pretty cool. We've got 5 surfers on tour. It's pretty big for California.
Yeah, it's huge.
3 of them from our cute little funny little beach town. So
it's crazy.
A lot of pride there. You know,
even like if you look at I don't have the exact QS for North America, but there's 3, I think at least 3 on the top 7 in the QS that will be in the Challenger Series. You know, you got Hayden, Taj, Cannon Carr, and I'm sure a lot of other kids that you know that I'm not naming that will, you know.
Oh, there's a lot of talent.
Jake Davis, like the list goes on.
Who?
You know,
Jacob.
Davis.
Yeah, Jake Davis. You know, big fan of Jake.
Yeah.
He trained with me in his life. Him and Luke have trained with me when I had my gym on El Camino Real, Advanced Sports Fitness. Yeah, and I can say this about Jake. He's an animal.
I mean,
he's a straight out animal. I mean, and his brother Luke, they hold 2 of the most they did some stuff, and I got to say I push people very hard.
Yeah, you got it. Don't be soft, right?
Yeah, I push people very hard when it comes to let's come train on the training side of things. And Jake is an animal. What he did on the Versaclimber, for instance, was unparalleled. And then what Luke did when we run 204 stairs, I've never seen anyone. It just blew my mind. Like, you know, there's those 2 are animals. And then who else, Joe? You know who else blew my mind in the training was Cole came in a few times. But Jonah Carter.
Wow.
Did something in my gym that was just so amazing what he did. He was such a strong, stoic, kind of quiet, like throw it out there to Jonah because he's a beast. Man.
Yeah, I love the Carters.
It's rad. Yeah. He's just
Jeremy too.
So yeah, Jeremy too. I mean, I'm just saying like just what was going on. So just the fact that there's that history of like under the belly of it, like we can be on camera and talk and it's all cool right up, but under it is training. Let's talk a little bit about that.
Yeah.
What do you do outside of surfing that you believe, from what I know, you're pretty actively involved in, trying to, work hard behind just paddling out?
Well, yeah. So this last year or two, I've worked on both sides because I've always felt like the hard work has been there the last 5 years. And I feel like the mental side has been like the biggest, not problem, you could say, but like where I needed to get dialed in. Right. Okay. But physical is just as important as mental, right? If your mental health isn't as good as your physical, like one thing leads to the next, sure. Right? And yeah, I always felt like my physical the last few years has been spot on. Nutrition, all that, you know how it is. Diet is so important. Sure. Everything you're putting in, is so important. So that was already dialed, and I was like, okay, what could I do that the last 5 years I haven't really taken advantage of, Okay. And that was my mental health. Yet I was taking a part of that with training, nutrition, all that, but then there's still like the piece was missing. Okay. And then I started working with a sports psychologist, and that's been like a huge game changer for me. And it's like really great to talk to your friends and family, but that was like a different outlook. And
totally.
Ever since I started working with her, that was right before Korea, and before that I was kind of not doing the best, like was like losing first round or second round. And I started talking to her, got second in a QS 6000, never even made it past round of 16. After that, won 3 events back to back. Like Cool. It was just like one thing after another, and I want to get this across the board. Just talking to a sports psychologist doesn't mean you get results. It was more for like me in my life, in my journey, where I was like, hey, like this is something I've never done. Like talking to someone other than my family, my friends, and my girlfriend. So it was really cool, and it was like a cool experience last year to acknowledge that side of my life. And yeah, I still train super hard. I'm maybe not as much as you because you're a beast, you're jacked. But yeah, I did a lot of strength training, a lot of endurance, agility, and then, sauna, ice bath, all of those for recovery. And yeah.
Good for you. Yeah. I mean, I just love, I know that everyone on tour nowadays, I mean, growing up, the generation I come from, I mean, they all took it serious, but they partied a lot. And it was just kind of a different way it was back then, right? Guys that were winning world championships were a lot of times, it was a different generation, a different 100%. Approach, right? Yeah. But then as we've emerged, throughout the decades and then finally into nowadays, everyone on tour trains to the core. I mean, no one is on tour who just parties and surfs. There's no way you're going to qualify.
Well, it's also balance too, right? Like it's okay to party, but do you need to party before the night of a world championship on the line? It's like maybe not,
Probably not, yeah.
But you win that world champ trophy.
Yeah, maybe you're gonna go have a couple beers.
Yeah,
or whatever,
right? If you want, I don't drink alcohol because I don't really believe in it's good for you, but that's just me. Right. I'll still go party and hang out with my friends.
Sure.
But yeah, like a day before the comp, you don't need to go to a nightclub, Like, you know what I'm saying? Like there's a balance, right?
Sure.
And I feel like this generation especially like has realized that like, hey, being healthy is like cool now. Before it was like working out was like kind of like, I don't think so,
Well, it came off a little bit like jock.
Yeah.
Like, right? It was kind of jocks did that, right? Mm-hmm. And then surfers were more cool and they party and like it just was a more cool thing, right? But I feel like we've crossed the divide and it's cool now to train. It's actually people are like in awe of it. Like all the way back in the day, gnarly guys. Tom Curran trained hard. Right. But next to guys on tour that really partied more than they trained. And now it's like everyone I just think the world's more competitive at the core. There's more people involved. So to be the best of the best, you got to bring everything, diet, nutrition, sports psychology, read books, whatever it is, everything you can bring. So I just feel like that's a big part of what's happening now. I know you're very involved with that.
Well, I mean, if you look at his top 32 on the CT out of the entire world, right? That's 32 people out of the entire world. Like, how big is the world? Like, I don't know the exact number, but like, that's 30. You know what I'm saying?
We know for one, there's millions of surfers in the world.
Exactly.
And these are the top 32.
Exactly.
Amazing,
and so,
right?
And if you think about it like that, it's like, how could you be 1% better, 2%, 3%? What can take you to the next step? And like the biggest, like, not biggest, but for me, I feel like I've really realized is how important recovery is, right? Recovery is everything,
Big on recovery, yeah.
Yeah, so I got sponsored by this place in Newport. It's called O2 Health Lab, and they have a hyperbaric chamber, red light therapy. Like there's a machine called NanoV. It's like oxygen too, and like all these recoveries like just make you 1% better. You feel better, you look better, And not that you have to have a six-pack or anything, but it's like,
No, I
why would you
understand.
not want to feel good?
Yes.
We only get one chance at life. Why would you want to be in pain?
I couldn't agree more.
Like,
why would you want to be hungover when this guy just came out of the hyperbaric chamber?
Yeah.
And red light therapy. I'm just saying, like, give yourself the best opportunity to succeed.
Yeah.
I have heard at times people that I knew back in the day, I will not mention names,
Yeah.
but they've said to me, gosh, if I had it to do again, I would have not, I would have gave it more, like, back in the party surf day.
Yeah.
I think they even felt guilty. Maybe they knew that they didn't give it everything they had because they had the rest of their life to go real chill and party and whatever.
100%.
But, when you're competing, you have a responsibility to your own soul and even your sponsors, really, is to give it the best shot that you possibly can. So, and I think that's where we are today. And when we talk about the tour, I mean, how exciting is it? What's happening on tour?
Oh, it's going to be a fun year.
Oh my gosh, right? So that's really cool. And I knew that, is there a story I just read recently? Let me ask you what you know about this. I'm a big Julian Wilson fan. I always have. I just love the way he surfs.
Yeah, he's everyone's. He's one of my favorites too.
Right?
He's crazy. Yeah, he's good.
Did I hear a story that he was just kind of, I thought he was trying to requalify.
Yeah, so I heard like mixed stories about this, and I'm not best friends with Julian, but like we cross paths, we know each other, right? Of course. Yeah. And
I was just curious.
From what I heard is like he wanted to requalify, but then his brand, I think it's called Rivvia, I believe, is just like doing really well. He wants to put Rivvia. Yeah, I don't.
I saw it. It sounded like the
car
brand.
He'll probably call me out.
Yeah, what's up? Yeah, I think it's Rivvia. Rivvia, I think, because Rivian is the car brand.
Yeah,
the electric car.
Yeah, you're right, probably.
So Rivvia. So what happened?
Yeah, so he wanted to put like all his focus into that and like kind of like start sponsoring athletes and make their dreams happen. From what I heard, I don't know.
That's kind of the story I read too.
Yeah, and
I was
like
surprised.
don't quote me on it, but like he basically wanted to sponsor other athletes like Matthias Hurdy, Hiroto Hara. Hiroto is one of the best to ever come out of Japan.
Sure.
He's like 13th on the rankings right now. Could potentially qualify. So
totally. I don't know. I feel like he could do that and sponsor them. I was a little disappointed.
But
I wanted to see Julian back on tour. You know why? I believe in my heart that he's actually a contender.
Oh, I mean, he's been right there. Same with Taj Burrow, one of the best, two of the best off my mind that didn't win a world title.
Oh, they wanted to, but they didn't.
Yeah,
no, they definitely wanted to. No.
But I'm saying like on paper they didn't have Julian Wilson world champ. Same with Kolohe, he never won a CT event.
Yeah, which is crazy.
It's like that's how hard it is, though. It's not easy.
Yeah.
I never thought it was easy, but like just getting that across the board, like Kolohe is still one of the best surfers, never won a CT event, And I still think he's one of the best surfers in the world. Absolutely.
Hands down. I mean, it's incredible how good he surfs from 2 foot to 20, front side, back side, in the air. I mean, it's insane how good he is.
Oh, yeah.
And it's just, it's a very competitive sport.
Well, I mean, if you go down the list, like, I'm probably going to miss a couple and I'll probably get called out for it. But like the people that come to my mind that I, still surf with, call is Chris Ward, Nate Yeomans, Pat Godowski, the whole Godowskis gang, right?
Totally.
You can't miss
the
them.
G brothers.
Yeah. And like to see them, like, I feel like for sure, like Pat and Nate would probably still would have been on tour had there been no mid-season cut, right? Like, Mike Lostness, like the list goes on, like I'm definitely missing a few for sure. But like, those are the names that come to my mind. I'm just like, the mid-season cut, I'm so thankful it's not here anymore. It's gone.
Too.
And it didn't work.
We're glad that's gone.
It didn't work 20 decades ago. Don't bring it back, WSL. It's a heavy call out, but
true.
It's the truth. Like in any other sport, you don't get half a season. You get a full season unless you injure yourself.
Yep.
That's just the truth.
We say a lot on my show that we believe if you earn your right to get on tour, you deserve a year.
You deserve a full year.
You deserve a year because you might click in later. So that's good. It's gone. Mm-hmm. And that, here we are now, and the tour looks really exciting right now. And I know on the girls' side,
dude, the girls are gnarly.
And they got, who did they got? They got Stephanie coming back. They got Carissa coming back.
Molly Picklum, Caroline Marks, kidding me? Caroline's backhand out lowers, like that's second to none, right?
Yep.
And then
Caitlin
Simmers, style, form, Lord, and then Stephanie Gilmore's coming back, Carissa Moore. Dude, I would not want to surf heat against them.
Yeah,
I would
really
get absolutely smoked. Like,
you're right, they're really good. Well, I don't know if you get smoked. That's up to you. But I know you're just saying.
No,
basically what you're doing is you're giving the women respect.
Oh,
because they've just
so
crushing it, right? And I'm also saying that the tour looks real exciting this year.
And I will say this, and I'm not even just saying this to get the credit or whatever. you know, there's so many talented girls and women, like, all across the world. They deserve 32 spots. I'll stand by that. Yeah. 32 spots. You know,
how many are they? I know they got more.
They got more, but it's not
like 26 now. Or?
Yeah, but it's not 32.
Yeah,
it's not 32. What's 8 more spots? WSL is what I'm saying. You know, and I always comment that. I will always stand by that.
Stand by that. Yeah.
Girls are putting their life on the line. Chopes, like, you know, girls. You know, some girls, they're afraid. That's okay. There's some men on tour that are afraid. I won't name names.
Totally.
You know, but there are some that are afraid, and that's okay. But there's girls putting their life on the line. Molly Picklum at Chopes, Sunset.
Totally.
The turn she did at Sunset, I don't know how that wasn't a 10. Maybe it was a 10, but like the turn, I don't.
Amazing.
Maybe we can pull that out. But that was like, if you've ever you've surfed all these waves, you know. But anyone listening, Sunset Beach, scariest wave, most humbling wave.
Totally.
Like, you cannot go out there with the mindset of like, oh, I'm the guy.
No.
I'm the girl. Like, you're gonna get so humbled. And that turn she did was second to none. It was like crazy. I look at it and I'm like, dude, that was like even a 9.5 or a 10 for the guys. The way she hit it, extended and landed. Yeah, like that was insane.
Yeah, I agree. It's a really difficult wave. It'll humble you no matter who you are.
Yeah.
And to surf on that level there, male or female, you know, they're lifting up their game. We have so much respect for what the girls are doing. And just I feel like the tour, it just looks more exciting than ever. I just you know, from a standpoint of like watching the events, it's incredible. It's really incredible.
I love watching the girls' heats. Me too. Know, like, I definitely have my favorites. We all have our favorites, you know. But like, you know, I watch Caroline, Molly, Katie, now Stephanie's back, Carissa, Tatiana.
I was just gonna say Tatiana's incredible. What about that wave she got at Chopu last year?
Oh yeah, that was crazy.
Whoa. I mean, whoa.
Yeah.
She's gnarly. It's really exciting time, you know.
Oh yeah.
And now we're stuck waiting all the way, which is cool. We're waiting till now they start at Bells.
Yeah.
Okay, because they used to start on the Goldie.
That's a shift. Yeah,
cold water. They used to start at the Goldie, and then they would go to Bells and then WA.
Yeah.
Now they go to Bells around April 1st, right?
We don't even have cold then.
It is cold.
Yeah,
well, Bells is always cold.
Yeah.
But then they go to WA.
Okay.
Then they end on the Aussie thing on the Goldie, which is a total switch. But I don't care. Whenever they get there, I'm stoked. I just think it's awesome, especially if they get, you know, Snapper or Kira. Nothing against D-Ball, you know, but that's kind of where they go if it's not as pumping on the points, right? But I mean, just seeing those waves there, and then how the tour is laid out to finish. At Pipe, and I believe we still have Trestles, but it's not part of the final. It's just a contest, which is sick. And then I love the idea that we've kind of gotten away from that whole top 5 thing.
Yeah,
I just got to say I'm a huge fan of just like, and we were talking about it earlier, like from what I understand, don't quote me, but I'm pretty sure what it's going to be is the final contest at Pipe is going to be 1.5 points. Which is going to really kind of make the final like exciting. But everyone's a contender. Like whoever's in the number mix, it could be 10, 12, 15, could be 2. It could be whoever that's in the mix. But it really makes it like, I mean, nothing against their whole theory of the top 5. Wasn't really my thing. You know, I don't think it's exciting as much as the top everyone at the finals. But anyway, you're taking
no, I don't. I personally never really liked the final 5 because consistency doesn't. It takes a whole year to be consistent, right? Like, even for the qualifying series, like the way I look at it is, why is the Challenger Series and why is the CT on one rated point system? And then the QS, you got 2, 4, 6. Yep. And then I won 3 2000s, and there's a guy that got second in a 6,000. It's the same as winning 2 2000.
Whoa.
And I'm like, the same guys are doing the same, you know?
Wow.
Yeah, so it's like really, for me, it was kind of a weird like thing to think about because like, you know, like I'm not a director, you know, by any means, but like there's you know, like right now there's 3 leagues, right, for surfing in a way. There's like, you know, the qualifying series, Challenger, and the CT.
Yes.
And the CT and Challenger have the same rated points. Like they
feed into the same numbers,
Challengers, every event is 10,000 if you win. There's no like, oh, one event is 6,000. It's all 10,000 if you win.
It's all 10,000.
And then it's like 8 and then slowly makes his way down. But
it's
same
10
with the
max.
Yeah, 10,000 is the max for Challenger. And I believe the CT is the same way, but maybe a little different because there's less people.
I think it's the same points except Pipe.
Yeah, except pipe. But like for the like normal event, like each
I think
event,
it's all the same. Yeah.
And the QS isn't like that, so it's really confusing because it's like you know.
Is that because they have different stars?
Yeah.
Like it's like,
but
1 star, 2 star, 4 star, or whatever. Like if you,
but
it's all this much money makes a 1 star and a 2 star and all that.
So like you
more
get
points.
So if you win a 2,000, I think I got like $2,000, and then if you win a 6,000, it's like $10,000. Which
I see.
But for me,
Are we talking money or points?
Money. So
okay.
Yeah. So if you win a 6K, it's probably $10,000 ish.
Okay.
Like, and the way if I was the one that would run it, I would run it so it's every event is same points, but you can sponsor because every event might be one. Like what? Let's say I don't know, whatever sponsor want to put it on, they can just be like, hey, we want to put $100,000 in it, but it's still gonna be the same point system, right? Because technically the CT, that's what they're doing. The CT, the last event, it's a 1.5 if we're correct, So that's the money. There's more money involved too, right?
Yeah.
So,
I think that somehow they put a connection with the amount of money and the amount of points for some reason. I don't know why they do that, but I feel like that's part of it, right?
Well, consistency too. Like Carissa should have had 2 more world titles. Like,
gosh.
It's great. Like,
because of what happened at the finals.
Yeah, and like I'm super stoked for Caroline. We're friends. Sure. Like I'm super stoked for anyone that that's the format.
Didn't Stephanie get one out of those? So those two.
So that's what I mean.
Pulled
like
it away from her, but all year, if they didn't have that, she would have been. She had the title.
She would have been 5th, right? Like no, but like Stephanie, when she won the world title, she was 5th.
Yes.
But
same with Carissa, both years. Yep. If it was normal way, she would have had 2 more titles.
Yep.
And in one day, it just wasn't her day or whatever. And
it's on shore too. Usually at lowers at 2 p.m. Like let's be honest, it's always
not the best time.
Yeah, it's probably the worst time to anywhere in the world. When is it ever clean at 2 p.m.?
She got a little bit robbed. Let's put it that way. But it was the system as it was.
It was.
They all signed up for it. They knew what it was. They signed on, and Stephanie came up under it and said, "What up, girl? I got this." And give her a lot of credit for what she did. But looking forward, I do think it's pretty cool what they're going to try to do this year. I'm very excited for it.
Well, going back to like the mid-season cut, like Pat and like Nate, like all these guys, like I would have loved to see them like with the full year.
Tour,
they never got to lowers, right? Like Nate didn't get to go to lowers. Like he got cut before lowers, and I'm like, what? Nate Yeoman's at lowers left?
I know,
right?
It's
like
incredible.
come on.
And he came on my show and was, that came up, and you could tell he's worked through it, but I think that was a scar in his life.
Highest world rep, right? And
it's classic.
He rips, and he's been
such an awesome guy. He's a good influence to you, right? One of your good friends.
Yeah, so it's crazy. Like we'll just try to go back from the like kind of mid, and then kind of go work our way up. But so I have a really funny story for everyone is when I was probably like 10 to like 12, like we're all Groms, and the best way to put it, a little shithead. I would paddle out to lowers with Griffin, that was like my best friend at the time. We'd go surf, hang out, and we'd come in. Or I would go in, like we'd be talking, I'd kind of like, catch a wave, whatever, go in, and I would go through all the kids' backpacks. Not even kidding. I would go through each backpack and I'd be like, oh, what's Griff got? What's he got? Like, what's, Cole was a little younger, but like, those, like that group of kids, like Cole, like our Griff, and I would go through their backpacks and eat all their food.
Oh my gosh. Huh? Really? So they'd come in and what would happen?
And they'd come in and be like,
where's my food?
Yeah, they'd come in. Wow. Parents would make the lunch, like peanut butter jellies, like, Ritz crackers, or like,
who doesn't love peanut butter and jelly when you're at Grom, right?
Yeah, like,
wow.
And I'd like eat it all, and then I would go back out, and then I would tell them, hey, I just ate all your food. I would go back
little
out.
Shithead.
Yeah.
Oh my
gosh. I would go back out and be like, Griff, I just ate all your food.
And what did he do?
And he'd be like, yeah, right. And he'd like go in and be like,
you ate my food.
Yeah, he'd be like tripping, like hands over his head. I was like, why are you tripping? I told you. Like, I ate your food. Like, why are you tripping? And then I'm
hungry.
Yeah. The following like week, they would go back and do it to me, right? Because like what goes around comes around.
Sure.
So then I started locking my backpack, like with the actual lock.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, and then one day they were just so over me, they just ripped it open.
That's some funny stuff.
Yeah.
Some good Grom stories right there. Let me ask you this: who would be your top 5 favorite surfers of all time?
Top 5, I would say
all time for you.
Andy Irons, that's a no-brainer. Let's see, John Florence, just how could you not? I mean, that's a lot of people's, right?
Yeah,
Gabriel Medina. The reason why I like Gabriel Medina in this top 5, a lot of people might not agree, is
they don't have to agree. This is your top 5.
No, but like I want to explain it too. Is
totally
his competitive mindset And the way he does things in the ocean to get in their competitor's head, it's second to none. Like, I had a heat with him against him in Brazil. Like, you know, the worst place you want to compete against
Totally.
a world champion, right?
6 million Brazilians on the
and
beach.
I'm just like, he literally started doing circles around me. And I was losing. I had third place. He's winning. He had me comboed. And he's doing circles around me. I'm like, this guy's doing circles around me?
Paddling around.
Yeah. He had 17 or 16 points, and I only had like 10 or 12.
And he's that aggressive.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was like, and I respect that, and that's part of it's nothing bad. It's part of the game. He's not pulling my leash. He's not doing anything. Just
it's
in my head.
Within the rules.
Yeah, it's in my
within
head.
the rules.
I mean, dude, he made it so they had to make new rules. That's
oh my gosh.
You know, have you heard of the couple rules?
What are the two that they changed because of him?
So one of them that comes to mind is, if you go paddle up and you go deep and you're like, so let's say we're paddling for a wave and we're at a left, we're at Chopu, right? And I paddle for it and he's deeper and he holds me off and I could have gone. Then now priority switches to me. Yeah. Even if he doesn't ride a wave. So they made
did that because of him?
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah, a couple of years back, he would paddle because he wanted the inside under, which every competitor, that's the mindset.
That just
right?
goes with that.
Yeah, and he would paddle them so deep where they're just, you're never, he knows you're not in the takeoff zone. Like, you're never in the right spot when you're that deep.
He was just strategically faking people out.
Yeah. And then having them try to think like, oh, we're in the spot and go, but then he wouldn't go and he'd pull back and he'd pull back, and they're like, okay, this is not cool, and then made a new rule because of him.
He is. I've heard he's a little mellower now, but that he's extremely aggressive. And then what's the other one?
Let's see. So we got Andy, we got John, Gabe. Five's hard, but I would say Nathan Florence is in that mix too. Just the way he surfs slabs, the way I don't know, for my top 5, and then maybe Kelly.
Okay. Got to throw the goat in there, right?
Yeah, and then I mean, I got so many favorite surfers.
Yeah, it can get a little much, but we got to try to dial it down.
Dial it in, yeah.
5.
Those are
pretty fair to throw Slater in there.
Yeah, and then the reason I like Nate too is, well, he's just super nice. He's like, if you've ever met him, he's one of the nicest humans.
Nathan Florence, yeah,
and he's just been always so nice to me, always giving me advice, and I feel like that's what you kind of take in consideration as like a favorite surfer if you get the chance to meet them.
A lot of variables,
Yeah. And what he's doing outside of surfing, like making money off YouTube, having 500,000 of just posting what he wants to post.
Totally.
And that's really
What's
cool.
What's that, 500,000 followers?
Yeah, on YouTube. He's got over 500K.
Damn.
Yeah, and it's called a slab tour, basically. And yeah, so he posts videos of what he likes to do around the world, and he's making money outside of competitive surfing. And there's not a lot to begin with, so for him to tap into that world,
amazing. I mean, I'm pretty sure with 500K followers, it's a pretty decent paycheck coming in.
Oh, for sure.
I don't know the numbers exactly, but I would say that I'm pretty sure that buys your next air ticket.
Oh, 100%. Yeah, and he's getting 100, 200K views minimum. Incredible. So
yeah, that's just Yeah. And I'm sure I don't know the numbers, but I think what Jamie and Mason are doing is I'm pretty sure they got some numbers behind that too, because they're having a lot of fun.
They're having a lot of fun.
What they do is it's just really
the psych meter, right?
It's so funny. Yeah. Mason and Jamie together, I just think that's we want to throw it out there. Those guys, because I think they're the the premier entertainment platform.
They started a podcast, right? Yeah.
Oh yeah, it's really funny.
I've listened to 3 of them. Mason,
it's really good.
Mason, actually, I want to shout him out real quick because we're not best friends, but we're friends, and I always ask for his advice, for certain things, barrels and certain, he's one of the best barrel riders in the world, and I feel for me over the years, I've been trying to be more vulnerable and ask for not help, but ask for advice, right?
Tap in, yeah.
And whether they say no or yes, everybody can,
do what they want.
It doesn't hurt to ask, right?
Sure.
And yeah, I hit him up and I was like, hey, what's your theory about riding no pad? He's like, dude, he said in his podcast, but he said that when he would use a pad, he would lose every time. And then when he was a Grom, and then one day his dad was like, hey, don't use a pad. And then he took the pad off and he won a contest. And I was like, oh, do you notice that you don't rip as hard? And he's like, no, I just moving my feet around, especially for barrels.
Yes.
And I was like, I forgot my pad in Indo, and I hit him up and I'm like, oh, Mace, I'm gonna ride a board with no pad. He's like, what? That's sick. And I've never done that in my life. And I was
really?
And he's like, dude, just be confident. You're good. You surf good. You'll be good. And I was like, all right, kind of was channeling my inner Mason almost. And it was 4 to 6 foot Karamas, and probably show a clip in this. And
beautiful.
It was perfect size, nobody out. I got probably the best burrows I've ever had at Karamas. Maybe not the best burrows of my life, but I had burrows where like I was like, okay, move your feet, Kei. Like Mason told you to move. Like if you watch the best in the world, they'll move their feet around inside the burrow. If you notice, like John, they're like moving their feet. Jack Robinson, Andy Irons, like some of the Chris Ward, best backside burrow ever, and from San Clemente.
Yep.
And yeah, I was like, okay, channel that. Like, just think of that. And I'm like moving my feet around inside the barrel, and I had no pads, so I didn't know where exactly the back of the board was. So I was like moving my feet around, and I was like, whoa, like I'm like making barrels like so deep that I never thought I would.
Mm-hmm.
And it was funny because I like forgot my pad. So I like you know, like when you get a surfboard pad, I have my own custom on a mission pad, like a Kei Kobayashi pad, but I cut it open, and I cut a couple open, and I left a lot of them in Japan, and then I brought like, you know, the middle and the right side, and I brought 2 right side pieces, so I couldn't put it on my board. So then I was like, oh, I'm just gonna go no pad and see how we go. And that was like the whole like mental shift, and it was really cool to like experience that. And honestly, like I might have a couple now with no pad, because just like you don't need to like rip all the time. It's more like just how Mason surfs, and like just go with the flow, and surfing is speed, power, and flow, right? So
I like the connection to my board when I don't have a pad. I feel incredibly connected to my board. For me, I've tried it because I grew up without pads. I'm older enough to where they didn't have pads when I was around. And then I did I love pads too. Okay, I'm not against them, you know. I think they have a place. But then there was a few times where I thought, you know, I just want to go back and just try it and just not put a pad on my board and wax it. And I really waxed the tail really thick, so I got a real good station back there. And I got to say, I love the feeling of the connection of my board when I was coming off the bottom, just the way it just felt more connected. So I can relate to that tremendously. I would say that, you know, right now, let's talk a little bit about, you know, as kind of we're heading toward trying to kind of wrap it up on some level here. Talk to me about what's going on with you right now. It's pretty cool stuff.
Last year, 2 years ago, 2026 now, so 2024, I went to Japan, and it was not part of my region. So I was in North America competing full time. But you can go outside your region. You don't get any points. You just get the prize money. You start at the lowest seed, like first round.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah,
okay.
So you can't surf outside your region right now.
Okay.
And so I went to Omaezaki, Shizuoka, where my dad is actually from, born and raised.
Cool.
And I was like, okay, let's just do this event. And actually, my girlfriend, you know, got to give credit, right? And she was like, just go do it. Go see your sponsors.
That's
and
cool.
I have
stoke the Japanese fire, you know.
Yeah.
You know.
And I have a lot of heritage in Shizuoka, a lot of backing, a lot of family still there. And so I was like, oh, why not? Like throw the jersey on, and it actually was like really relieving for me too, mid-season. Like, wow, I can do an event where I don't have to worry about making the quarters or getting one place better, right? Every point matters, right? And I was like, okay, yeah, just throw it on. And then I won my first tee. And then I was like, oh, this is kind of cool, you know, like outside my region, you know, like no pressure, like, you know, a little bit of pressure, of course, but not like the pressure you feel like when you're competing in your region.
Yeah.
And I was like, okay, throw it on. Like, you know, I started round of 128 or 144, I believe, and slowly like made my way up. And then now I'm in like the seeded round, 64, you know, you could say the top dogs, right? The top of all of Asia, you know, are in that contest. And I'm like, okay, cool. Like this is where like it starts getting a little more serious, you know?
Sure.
And then I started like, you know, beating those guys. And then I was like, okay, well, I'm in the round of 16. And then now this is the best guy out of Asia, Keiji Onishi, currently at the time, and still is like in the top 5-ish area. And I was like, okay, this is like, you know, important, but don't take it too serious. And then I ended up beating him, and then now I'm in the semis, and then slowly I was in the final, and I was like, whoa, like I'm like really close to like touching this trophy. Like this is like kind of a cool feeling, like not trying to get ahead of myself, right? Because it's really easy to get ahead of yourself and then like kind of be cocky and like I'm the guy, you know. And like we all get like that. That's just the truth, you know.
Natural human nature.
And yeah, so then I ended up winning the contest, and I was like, whoa, like I just won, and it was a 3,000. I've never won a 3,000 before.
Incredible.
And yeah, so even though it was in my part of my region, it was the biggest event QS I've won in my entire career. So I was like, whoa, this is cool. And then like was all excited, frothing, you know. And then I came home and I was like kind of like debriefed, you know, and I was like, okay, like would I ever consider switching to the Asia qualifying series? Like looking at how many events they had. And I was like telling my girlfriend, like my family, of course, and her family, like, hey, like, what do you guys think? Like, do you think it's smart? Like, do you think, like, and I was like, oh, this is like a big change. Like, I'm going to be gone a lot more than I ever was in North America. And I was looking at the events at Nias, Kuri, that was South Sumatra, North Sumatra, and Korea, and all these really cool places I've never gone to and been dreaming of going to Nias. And Kuri is now officially my favorite place in the entire world now. It's got literally every wave you can think of, slabs to point breaks to everything. And yeah, so then I finally made the call of switching, and I was like, okay, this is going to be a big change, but like I'm kind of like an all-in kind of guy. Like, if I'm going to do it, I'm all in, and you kind of have to. You can't be one step in, one step out, right? And so then I switched, and the reason I wanted to switch was because I have so much heritage in Japan, and I have more than half of my sponsors in Japan supporting me. Like, Locomotion is my main sponsor. I signed with them through Japan, and then yeah, I have a bunch more, and yeah,
cool.
I have a few. And
I mean, it seems really fitting.
Yeah, and then I have a lot of sponsors in the U.S. as well. Like, the mug I'm drinking is from Drink Salty. They're like a health and beverage sponsor. Cool. But a lot of them are from Japan. So I was like, it really does make sense. Like, it's a scary change, too. Makes sense. It was really, like, emotional and scary for me to make that change because, like, I was born and raised here in San Clemente, and, like, kind of, like, that's my roots, right? And I'm like, this is a big change, right?
But, I mean, from two fully Japanese parents, I mean, that's pretty cool. It's not like one parent's white and the other one's Japanese. I mean, you don't get more Japanese except for if you were raised in Japan. Yep. So, I mean, I think that's kind of neat in its own way, just honestly, as far as genetics. I don't know. Yeah, a lot to be considered, but how cool. So you shifted over, and then boom, bada bing. I don't want to say it was that easy, but
it was just crazy to, like, start the year off like the way I did. It was, like, not the best start, not ideal. Like, I lost first round, and then, like, I didn't find my, like, footing, you could say, in the competitions. Like, the way I was competing wasn't the best strategy, and then I started working with Tepe Tajima. He's a ex-pro surfer, still absolutely rips. He's got a lot of acclimates, like won the JPSA Japanese Tour. He's won so many events. And
cool.
Yeah, he helped guide me, like, through, like, each and every event this year on the Asia qualifying series.
Like, kind of like as a coach?
Yeah, as a coach, cool. Like, full-time. I hired him, and
cool.
like, yeah, he was coaching other athletes too, and I'd watch their heats, and felt like I started to watch the ocean more. And yeah, Paul Gomez told me this a while back. He's like, dude, you gotta watch all the tides, all the conditions, like, a lot more than you think you need, because it shifts so much. Like France, it's like every 10 minutes it's like, okay,
it's a
that
huge
bar,
different change.
It might not be that drastic, but everywhere.
It does change quick.
It does change quick, and you have to think
especially in France.
Yeah, and you have to think on the fly in surfing. Like, yeah, you have a game plan, and you have to also be able to switch your game plan and be okay with that shift. And, like, in the moment, there's 10 minutes left, you're sticking with A, but it's like, A's not working. You got to go to B, you have to have a mental, like, game plan, but be okay with the shift of a change of plans. And I feel like
adaptability.
Yep.
Is a big thing,
that
right?
would be a huge, key component, best, like, wording you could say.
Yeah.
And yeah, so I started switching that, like, asking for advice. And then, like you're saying, like, Nate's been mentoring me. Like, that was huge part of, like, calling people, like calling Nate and Pat Godowskis, like, asking them for help and guidance of, like, hey, I want to be on the world tour. I believe I could be there. Like, what am I missing? Like, can I ask for advice? Like,
the humility of that alone, I think, is, really beautiful. Just to open yourself up to the vulnerability of not being so proud that you wouldn't, reach out to people that you respect that did it already before you, and to ask them and have them be cool in return with, really trying to help out. That's really cool. The generations of, just kind of like what's called pay it forward or whatever, that's really cool.
100%.
What I want to ask is, what else what else is going on? Like, what is, anything you're working on or working with, or, what's going on with that?
Right now, I'm just surfing, and just, like, I had a surf streak, actually. It's still going. I've been surfing since 2024, every single day, one wave per day. And yeah, so it's 2026. So I'm past 731 days of surfing every single day. Cool. So that's pretty cool. And a
lot of consistency going on here with Kei Kobayashi. He's on a mission, ladies and gentlemen. I mean, and I know we talked about it earlier a little bit about, we all like to go fast, right? I mean, when we surf, I mean, I feel like we're trying to go, I don't know if it's ever really a thought, like, consciously I'm trying to go fast. I don't know if that's it, but I do feel like on some level, it plays a role subtly in there somewhere.
Well, I mean, let's be honest, like who doesn't like to go fast? That's like my first question to everybody, whoever's watching this is like, when I stand up on a board, I'm generally curious, like how fast am I going on this 1 foot wave? Because when you're on a 1 foot wave, it's all on you, right?
Totally.
1
foot
foot
speed generated is by you.
Yeah, 1 foot T Street Cropley's right. Like how fast are you going? You know,
what
like
a tough wave.
And then like I started working. Seriously, this is so sick. It's called Surf One Tech. It's a new technology. I just started working with them, and you can put it on. So like if this was a surfboard, you can put it anywhere on your surfboard. I think it's recommended more in the middle, just so there's more surface area to track the board. And I recently I did a session in Oceanside, Lowers, Newport Beach. So like a big variety of waves, right?
Okay.
And to see the stats from Lowers to like Oceanside, because Lowers is a 5-turn right, 5-turn left. Oceanside maybe 1 turn.
1 or 2, yeah.
Yeah, if you're lucky,
it's a
you get 2.
shorter lived deal, yeah.
And then I also used it in Newport, and it was like 1 foot that day, and I was like, like this is how much speed I got to get in the air. And then what's cool about the Surf One is you're able to see the way you're doing turns too, like the angle. But for me, it's like the speed, power, flow, right? That's the 3 major key components. Whether you're a competitive surfer or not, it's speed, power, flow.
It's just cool knowledge to have.
Yeah.
And somehow this thing collects the data. This device collects the data. And then you could study the data and understand a little bit more from an analytical perspective about how to, I don't know, go faster or whatever.
Well, I mean, I'm not like a nerd, you could say, but like I do definitely like to know my stats and like big. Every surfer wants to be better, right? You're trying to be better. That's why you keep coming back. You get barreled one day, you're like, oh, I could have been deeper.
I want to go deeper, yeah.
Exactly. That's the feeling we all have inside us that makes us come back to surfing every day, or coming back, if you can't surf every day, you go on the weekends. You're looking forward to surfing that weekend, right? Of like, oh, last weekend I did this blowtail. And you can see your stats on that, like, hey, that blowtail, you had this much speed before it, and then this is the angle of the turn you were doing. That's what's so cool about the tracker, and you want to get better, so that's the best like secret hack you can have. That's
cool.
Yeah, so it's really cool. I'm
stoked
that's cool.
On it. Yeah, I wanted to know a little more, but we talked about it earlier, and I just think it's kind of interesting to look at different ways to analyze data. I think that's a big thing in our modern world. There's so many devices that people have, Fitbits and all these different things.
Yeah, I got a Whoop.
Yeah, like it's kind of like that, but for that, right? It's for that's like that for the water and for surfing and for understanding that. So that's really cool. And I would say that. So here we are, and I just want to again say congratulations for where you're at, because I know very young in life you decided that you wanted to go after it, and then here we are 15 or so years later, deep in, you've gone through like everything from your sports psychology to training to asking fellow pros that that you can you've really been after it. You decided to make the Asia switch, and I mean, man, it seems like it's working, and I'm just I've known you basically your whole life, and to see you at this stage, I'm very proud of you.
Thank you. It's an honor to be here. And when I honestly didn't know you were starting this, you had this envision decades ago. It feels like, I was sitting on your couch, and you were like, I think I want to do this. And we were, Aaron, Jesse, and I were both like, yeah, send it,
Yeah.
Life is short,
been a journey.
And it's an honor to see it too. Not only just to be here, but to see it in person and have your dreams come true. And
thank you. Well, we're working on them just like you. We're not there yet, but we're working on them. It's a work in progress, and part of that progress is to connect and talk and understand and learn from each other's journeys. And I just want to say, like I said early in the episode, I've known your dad for literally, I believe it's like almost 40 years now.
Wow.
And he's such an awesome guy, and to know his offspring, and to know you, and to see you come up from being a Grom to where you're at now. And I know where you want to be, and you want to be on the CT. And I want to say, from Talk to the Doctor to Kei Kobayashi, that congratulations and good luck with what you're doing. And thanks for coming on my show.
Thank you. みんなドクターに喋ってね。